Welcome to the vlog. This is the story of my broken city. Well, I'm not going to tell all of the story. I'm going to tell part of the story. But this is the best place to begin, right here at the broken Chirstchurch Cathedral. See, it all started about 7 years ago. The date was September 4th, 2010. We had our first earthquake. I mean, it's not the very first one we've ever had, but it's the first major one. It was, I think, 7.1, and that one didn't kill anybody because it happened at 4:35 in the morning and everybody was at home. But it did a fair bit of damage, and then the following February 22nd, 2011, we had a smaller earthquake, but this one did more damage. That was the one that killed about 185 people. And that was our cathedral, which is now broken. And it's been like that for 7 years because the powers that be can't decide what to do with it. Are they going to rip it down? Are they going to build a new one? Are they going to repair it? Nobody knows yet. Kia kaha, that means stay strong. That's Maori. You see, the city is approximately 150 years old. It's what you call a Victorian city. Lots of the people that came here in the old days, they came from England. And a lot of the architecture of the time was typical of, you know, English architecture. So we used to have a lot of nice, old-fashioned style Victorian buildings. And it's one of those situations where you don't know what you got till you lose it. And the earthquakes came and we lost it. We lost a lot of it. Now personally, I tend to buy into the I'm not overly sentimental about it. I think that we should just rip down that bloody cathedral and build a new one. But there's other people out there that really love it. And they want to keep it. And when you have a look around the city and you see things like this, you get to understand that whilst we've got new things being built, we've lost so much of the old things, and those old things are never coming back. Government departmental buildings. That's actually a hotel there now. It's not government building anymore. But this is an example of the classical old architecture that we used to have here. And it's all gone now. Well, it's mostly gone. Now, if you live in a city and you have some of this nice stuff, I urge you to appreciate it while you have it. Just imagine something was to happen and it would be gone. This city, as you walk around, I'm going to show you a little bit. As you walk around, you're going to see a kind of a fusion of new buildings next to old buildings, next to construction sites and construction cranes and things. Sometimes when you walk around the city, you even run into these empty places where something was. Right here there was this big building. I can't remember the name of it. It might have been a B&Z. I don't know what the hell it was. It had this really dated 1980s style of architecture. Not old Victorian, but just like bland, square, box looking thing. And it had this big digital clock on the top. You know, like your alarm clock you keep next to your bed. It was like that, you know. And so it would have the time up there sometimes, and it would have the date or the temperature. And then other days it was just turned off. But it was an ugly building. Glad to see it gone. That's the ice cream cone. Actually, to tell you the truth, I don't know what the hell it's actually called. It's like this flower weave type thing. It's designed to look like, you know, a bunch of flowers. Now there is this thing to the north of Christchurch. I don't know what the hell that thing's called either, but it was given to us from Australia. And it is like a big circular globe with all these little windmills on it. I'm sure I'll show it to you in another vlog. And people have said that these two go together and they form an ice cream. Because this is the ice cream cone and above it goes the ball, which is the ice cream. That's the old post office here in Cathedral Square. Looks impressive, huh? Well, it's behind a big construction fence. That's how things go in the city. In order to preserve something that's old and broken, it sits behind a construction fence for years. And then eventually it gets fixed or it gets torn down. And that's the way things are. See over there how it says Wendy's? That was Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers. Well, that Wendy's was open for a grand total of 7 weeks, directly before the 2010 earthquake. So people would be coming into town to get Wendy's, because that was the only place you could get Wendy's, and then the earthquake hit and the whole CBD was shut down and you couldn't get Wendy's anymore. And it took years for them to come back. So that's the new Triangle Centre. Again, radically different from what it used to be. But at the same time as the earthquakes, you had the liquefaction. What is liquefaction, you might ask? Most people who lived in this city had not heard of liquefaction until pretty much like the first earthquake. And then suddenly overnight, everybody was an expert because it was on the news and everything, and suddenly you became an expert. That's what happened. That's the way how things were. Underneath the city, there is, not all of the city, but underneath parts of the city is sandy soil. And you've got this river going through the middle of the city called the Avon River. So your earthquakes come along, shake things up, and a lot of that silt and water just comes up out of the ground like a volcano, just like erupts out of the ground. So you had whole neighborhoods that had their streets covered in sand. And I mean, that was brutal. That was a really, really challenging time for a lot of people in this city. Nice to see some security guys having a look around here. Make sure there's nobody tagging up the shops or anything. I mean, this central city where we are now, back in the 70s and 80s, it had a bit of a reputation for being a bit of a rough place late at night. But today is Easter Sunday, and the only people that are walking around the city at this time of night are tourists checking out the city under rebuild, and YouTube vloggers. So thanks for checking out the video. This video is just one piece of some of the sites that I'm going to be showing you in this city tour series. There is more to the CBD. This is just part of it. Oh, WWE Live. Half these guys aren't even coming now. Look at this false advertising.